Hey guys, my name is Sandy. I'm a licensed realtor here in the Central Florida area. Today I want to do a video on how to sell your home fast and for top dollars. Where in 2024, the real estate market is a little bit funky. It's not a buyer's market, it's not a seller's market, it's kind of in between. Interest rates are a little bit high. Some areas, they're still seeing fast turnarounds on home sales. Some areas, not so much. Builders are giving a lot of incentives, but also you got to be careful on how those incentive works when you go towards a builder. But now if you're selling a home, let's say you're selling a home, and especially if you're competing with new construction, meaning wherever you're selling your home, there's also new construction going on as well, then you're going to have to come up with a strategy to get your home to sell. Because no matter how the market is, there's always going to be people in the market that must buy. Maybe they're relocating, maybe they just got married, maybe they're getting a divorce, maybe they just have they just added to their family, maybe they're upsizing, maybe they're downsizing, but there's always going to be people in the market looking for a home to buy no matter what the market condition is. And so your question is, if I need to sell, how am I going to reach those people that need to buy? Because we got to match a buyer to a seller no matter what. So here's some things that you could do to get your home sold fast. If you're competing with new construction, you definitely have to stage your home out, because the buyers are going to be going to the new construction side and the builders are going to have model homes. Now, I know it's impossible to live in a model home because you have to live, but what I would suggest is you definitely stage your home out. And if you're working with a realtor, which I suggest you do in this particular market, then also have the realtor stage the home and market it in a time frame where we're going to have a open house. So how does that work? So let's say I'm going to put the home on the market this week. I'm going to get the house ready. I'm going to get everything together, all this stuff. I'm going to stage the home. Let's say I put the home as a coming soon on Thursday on the market. So I put as a coming soon on Thursday, and then I might say to everyone, real estate agents and the public, that, hey, we're going to have an open house this particular Sunday from, 12 to 4, whatever that time frame is. So at that time, you're going to leave the home. So, you and your family go wherever, and the home is staged, and that way, for that particular open house, the buyers will get to see the market in the best light, and more than likely, you'll obviously get more than one offer if you do it that way. Now, let's double back in, and let's talk about some back-end things that we need to do before the house hits the market. The first thing you're going to want to do, and I would suggest you do a home inspection. Why is that important? Because you lived in the house for a period of time, you're not really paying attention to all little wear and tear stuff and other stuff that might be going wrong. Because you're living in the home, everything is functioning in the home, then you're not really worried about anything like that. But when the inspector comes in, it's going to be a third set of eyes from a different perspective. He has nothing to gain, and he's going to look at every single thing. And anything that comes up during that home inspection, you want to fix it. Now, when you put the home on the market, you're going to tell the buyer, hey, we have a home inspection report that was done a week ago, 2 weeks ago, whatever the date is. You're welcome to a copy before you put your offer in. Why would you do that? Because you don't want the buyer to put an offer in, you tie the home up, accept their offer, they do a home inspection, and they come up with all these things that needs to be fixed in the home. You want to avoid this. So in order to avoid this, you want to do a home inspection first before the house even goes on the market. And anything that comes up on that report that needs to be repaired, I would suggest you go ahead and repair it if they're big ticketed items. I'm not talking about normal wear and tear like scratches on the wall or whatever it is. I'm talking about anything to do with the air conditioning system, because this is Florida. And if you're selling in Florida, air conditioning is important. If you're selling in New York, Connecticut, Chicago, the furnace is going to be important. You want to make sure the furnace could produce heat. So based upon the area you are selling in, right? So a roof, that's going to be super important. And most rooms over 5 years old are going to require a 4-point home inspection. Some people want a 6-point and an 8-point. There's all these different points. But you want to do a mitigation on the roof when the home inspector is doing the home inspection to make sure the roof is good, especially if it's over 5 years old. Because the buyer is going to also have problem in getting insurance, believe it or not. These home insurance in Florida these days, if the roof is older than 5 years old, they start to give a problem. Older than 10 years old, definitely giving a problem. So what you may want to consider if you're thinking of selling and you have a older roof, you may want to somewhat replace the roof before you sell it, because that's going to be an issue with the buyer. It really is. So that's important. Roof is important. Air conditioning is important. Hot water tank, not so much, but that's also important as well. If you're selling an older home, it may not be a bad idea to offer a 1-year home warranty or a 2-year home warranty to the buyer. I prefer to do a 2-year because most people are doing a 1-year, so I'm always liking to one up. So why don't we just one up it and do a 2-year home warranty? Builders are only giving a 1-year on certain things, so you do a 2-year home warranty. And this includes, builders only give a 1-year on all the appliances and all that great stuff, right? And on their workmanship. So if you gave a 2-year warranty to a buyer, which covers all the appliances, including the air conditioning, including the hot water tank, including any pool equipment, if you have a pool in the property, then that would be a big plus because everybody's giving a 1-year. And most buyers are like, some people like the 1-year, nah, some people not so much. 2 years is definitely topping it up, right? So we're gonna do a home inspection prior to putting the home on the market. We're gonna fix any repairs that comes up that's gonna be major for the buyer. We are also going to go to the title company and make sure there's no liens on the property. So we want to do a preliminary title report. These are stuff we do when we list a property for our sellers. So that's what I'm trying to tell you to do as well. So you're going to want to hire a title company. If you're working with a realtor, they should be able to. They have lots of title companies that they work with. And that way you are able to run title to make sure that there is no lien. Maybe somebody did some work for you and they thought they weren't paid, or maybe they weren't paid in full, or whatever the situation is. People love to put liens on people's property. So you want to make sure there's no lien on the property. If you're in an HOA, you want to call the HOA and make sure that there's no outstanding violations, because this is another thing that stops the show. Municipal report, that's why you want to do your title check. So if there's a municipal report saying that you did something and you didn't sign off on it, or you didn't get permit for it, or whatever it is, you're going to kick that in the butt right there. You're going to call the HOA. If it's in an HOA, make sure that there is no outstanding violation or anything like that with the HOA. These sometimes surprises people at the closing table. When you do all this preliminary work, you're ensuring that your home will close. There will be no hiccup. You don't want the deal to fall apart. The only reason the deal should fall apart when you're selling a home, should be on the buyer's side. Meaning, one, the buyers find something on the home inspection and want it fixed, or they don't want the home anymore, and that's why we're going to do a home inspection up front. Or two, the buyer finances fall apart. Now, there's not what we could do if the buyer's financing fall apart, but we could do some preliminary things in the beginning. So when the buyer presents the offer, we want to make sure we're calling the lender. So if you have a realtor, they'll do this. You want to make sure you call the lender and find out from the lender how strong is this person as a buyer. Is there any hiccups? Is there anything you should know about? Is the income good? Is everything good, right? If it's a good lender, they will divulge all this information. You also want to take a look at what bank is financing. If it's an outstanding financial bank, it's great. If it's not, doesn't mean it's not great, but we want to call the lender who's giving that loan just to get some information. Is this a strong buyer? Is there anything I should be worried about? Are their credit scores good? You just want to know you have a strong buyer coming in. If they're putting a low down payment, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a bad thing, because people like cash or higher down payment. If it's a low down payment, it doesn't really matter. What matters is if the person can actually close the deal. And we want to know this up front, right? So we did our home inspection report. We did our preliminary title work to make sure we have no liens. We called our HOA to make sure there's no liens of any kind. We're going to then stage the home. Staging the home is very important, right? Because you want the buyers to see it in the best light. Now, because you can't live in a model home or a home that's perfectly staged, because you have your family and you have to live, you want to stage it, and then you want to do an open house in conjunction with the staging, and then you want to leave the home. If you're staging the open house, make the rest of the family leave the home. If you have a realtor working with, then the realtor would do the open house, because that time the home is being seen in the best light. And I would always suggest you do it on a Saturday or a Sunday. That's when most people are off. You want to advertise it in different Facebook groups. Make sure you're advertising your open house. So you want to advertise in different Facebook groups. You want to advertise it with your friends. Maybe put a next door neighbor. All the social media platforms that you could think of, you want to advertise it. And even if you're working with a realtor, you can also help your realtor out by putting it out there saying, hey, the home is for sale. This is the open house time. That way people don't feel restricted that they have to come at a certain time. So now that we've covered all that, let's talk about pricing, because that's going to be super important. It's very important that you price the home to sell. And what does that mean? It means that you're going to price the home at market value. So that means if a similar home sold in your community within the last 6 months, that's similar to your home in bedroom count, in bathroom count, and in square footage with a 200 in differential. So let's say you had 1,800 square feet. You have the 1800 square feet home. So you're going to look at homes that sold between 1600 and 2200 to give you that bracket. And you're going to see what sold in your neighborhood within the last 6 months that fits in this price point. Okay. Now, I know that there's going to be a big controversy, and well, they have granite and I have quartz counters, or they have a pool, we didn't have a pool. We're going to have to supplement for whatever minuses that house have that our house doesn't have, or whatever pluses our house have that house didn't have. So one, look at bedroom count, bathroom count, square footage. Those are going to be the three main things they're going to look at. That they're also going to adjust for a pool. They will adjust for a new roof versus an older roof. They will adjust for newer appliances, but it's not going to be, it depends upon what that differential is. So we want a price to sell if you have to sell, and you must sell. We don't want a price to see what the market does. We don't want a price to see how many offers we get, or if we don't get an offer, then we're going to have to go reduce the price. Of course, we'll reduce the price if nothing is going on. But you do not want to price your home and the contingency of, let me say, if I get a good offer. Because the home will sit on the market is going to get stale. And so when you start to reduce the price, this is what you're telling, the message you're saying to the buyers is, the home was overpriced, it's not selling, now we're reducing the price. So of course, when the buyer comes in, they're going to offer less because they're thinking, well, the house isn't selling, it's sitting on the market. You already reduced the price a few times, or maybe one time. So that means if I give you an offer that I think is good as a buyer, then you're going to take the offer. Is that really true? No, it's not. So you want to price the home to sell. So if the last similar home sold in your community within the last 6 months at, let's say for an example, 450, more than likely in this market, it probably will sell at maybe 450, 460, 470. But if the last home sold at 450, unless your home is substantially different, which would not be a comparable anyway. So if there's substantial differences, then you cannot compare it. Meaning, if the last home sold at 550 and they had 2,500 square feet, and you're working with 1,800 square feet, there's no way you could compare that, because you're going to have to adjust for the extra square footage. You're going to have to bring that back down. So you want to bracket your square footage. So you're going to go 200 square feet up and 200 square feet up, 200 square feet down to bracket your square footage. You want, if you have a 4-bedroom and somebody have a 3-bedroom, we're going to have to adjust for the bedroom. If you have 3 bathrooms, somebody have 2 bathrooms, we're going to adjust for that. Lot size is also going to be important. Maybe that person's on an half-acre lot, maybe you're on a 1/4-acre lot. You're going to adjust for that. So once you do all your adjustments, and a realtor will be able to do all this for you. Another thing you could do, you could get an appraisal done before you put your home on the market. Maybe you don't trust realtors. Maybe you're skeptical. Maybe you're saying, well, my house is top notch and there's no way it's gonna sell for more than anybody home in the neighborhood. Which you could say that, and you could do that, and that's fine. But maybe it's a great idea to bring an appraiser in. An appraisal will then appraise the home, and then you decide if you want to go with the appraisal value. So you could get a realtor to give you a comparable market analysis. You could get an appraisal to get the appraisal done. You could compare both figures and see what you want to do. But I will tell you that you need to price the home to sell. That's super important. If you don't price the home to sell, it's going to sit on the market, especially in the market we're in. You don't want that. What do you want? You want to stage the home. You want to put on the market that one particular weekend, one open house, that one weekend. And guess what? You want to get multiple offers. And that's achievable. That is achievable even in this market. If everything is done according to what we were just discussed. Home inspection done, preliminary report done. We're pricing it to sell. We're not pricing it to see what we're going to get. Price it to sell. Home is staged. Everything is done. Ready for the open house. We did all the advertising. You did your social media advertising. If a realtor is in play, the realtor is going to do a lot of marketing to get as much people as possible to that open house for that day, because the purpose of the open house for that day, because it was just staged, is to get an offer, and not just one offer, but multiple offer, so we could negotiate, go back and forth with a few people and see where our price is. Once you accept the offer, if it's a financing deal, you must call the lender. Your realtor must call the lender to find out how strong this buyer is. Maybe you may have a buyer offering more but put in 10% down, and you may have a buyer offering less, put in 20% down. But maybe the 10% borrower is a stronger buyer than 20%. We don't know. More down payment don't necessarily mean it's a stronger buyer. If it's 20% or more down, it's an easier financing deal. That's a fact. But if it's like somebody's doing 5% down, somebody's doing 3.5%, you have a VA player, they're doing no money down, you have somebody doing 10%, it's not really that much of a difference, because most of the down payments are kind of all under 20%. And it doesn't mean because it's a VA loan, it's not going to be a good deal. And listen, we respect and love our VAs. We actually do a 10% discount from our commission on our VA buyers and sellers. So keep that in mind. So you have to figure out which offer would make the best sense. And it's not a good idea, even though I'm a realtor and I'm not being biased, but it's not a good idea in this market to not have a realtor represent you. Try to interview as much realtors as you want, choose one, but if you choose to go it alone, these are the points I would take into play. All right? Thank you so much for listening to this video. Now, we do offer complimentary Zoom calls. So if you want to call us or send us a text to, hey, I'd like to do a complimentary Zoom call, we do that all the time. My number should be somewhere up here, somewhere below. You could call or text that number and we'll get more information for you. Thank you so much for listening to this video. Make sure you like and subscribe because we put videos out all the time. Again, my name is Sandy and I'm a licensed realtor here in the Central Florida area, but I have syndicates all across all 52 states. Okay? Thank you so much. See you on the next video.